everyone, it's Delanie. Hope you're all hanging in there. We're going to start trying to post some videos of fun projects that you can do at home with your kids. And the first one that I'm going to show you guys how to do is make a rag rug. You can use any fabric that you have around the house to make this. And, sorry, my dog's in here. And to add to the story, I learned about rag rugs from my grandmother, who is 92 years old, and she lived through the Great Depression. And one of the things that she learned during that time as a child was how to make do with the things that you have. And so we're going to do that today. So you're going to need to find a few things around your house, and feel free to pause the video as you go collect your items. The things that you're going to need are scrap of cardboard. It can be really any size you want. This is going to be your loom. You're going to need a pencil, scissors, a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can just guesstimate. String is best, so if you have embroidery floss or just any thin like cotton string, but you can also use bits of fabric to create the loom. And then you're going to need a bunch of scrap fabric, ideally cotton. Old bed sheets work really well. And we're going to use this kind of as our yarn for our weaving. So let's get started. Feel free to pause if you need to go grab materials. All right, first up, we're going to make the loom out of a scrap of cardboard. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is measure your notches at the top and the bottom of the loom. My board is 8 inches long, and I'm going to make my notches at 1/2 inch increments. Get a little math in here, ruler reading. Now, don't worry, as with everything we do, don't worry if it's not perfect. You're just going to make little notches at the top. Flip your board, line up your ruler, do the same. Once you have your notches, you're going to take your scissors, and scissors and cardboard work best if you can open them as wide as possible and chop from the back of your scissors. Keep chopping. Hey, Tay. Your shop dog. I don't think the dogs have ever been happier with all of us home. Okay. So now I have all my notches cut. The next step is to what's called warp your loom. So the warp is the string on your loom that goes up and down like this. The weft is the part where you weave. So just get this going. Good. All right. Now we got it. So I'm going to feed my string through the first notch and leave a good long tail at the end. And then you're going to wrap tightly around the loom. Oop. So if you get a knot, a lot of the times they're what's called false knots, and you can pull them out. So that can feel frustrating. It's okay. You can get through it. You can make your loom as big or small as you like. I love to make these for miniatures, like little rugs for a dollhouse, or one of your dolls or buddies. Okay, so I have my loom worked on this side. I'm going to flip it over. First, the heat's going to come on in our old building. That's okay. I'll just talk louder. Just go with it. Okay. You could get an extra set of hands if you have one, but I don't. And my dog's paw isn't going to help in this situation. And tie that off as tight as I can get it. And then trim the excess off. this will be the back side of your loom. This will be the front side of your loom. Next up, tearing fabric. This part is fun, and it can get out some of that frustration you might be feeling by being cooped up. So what you're going to do is, you're going to take the long end of your fabric and cut like a 1-inch notch. That's about the size of your top part of your thumb. And we're going to tear strips of fabric. You want to make yourself a good pile before you get started. Now, I'm going to show you the most basic weave, which is called a plain weave, first, and then I'll show you how to do some of this fringe, and we'll get started. So the first thing that you want to do with your fabric strip is just weave it over and under. So if you have a big plastic needle at home, that can be helpful, but you can certainly just do this with your hands. So the first row is going to go over, under, over, under. And we're just going to squish that down here. Leave a little tail at the end like this. Now we have to snake. See my long end? I have an under here. So when I go back through, I'm going to start at an over so that the pattern is opposite. The reason we do an opposite pattern is that it locks the fibers in place. And you pull through. Now, a lot of the times kids will pull really hard and then this string will start going in and you get this hourglass shape. So try your best to keep it flat like this and then just push down. Now, you're probably going to have lots of small pieces of fabric, and let me show you how to lock them together without creating a lot of hole. So you're going to take the end of the strip, fold it over, and you're going to cut a little notch, kind of like a buttonhole. Then you're going to take your next piece of fabric, fold, create a little hole. You're going to feed that end through this little buddy here. This. Take this strip, pull it through, and then pull tight. And you'll get maybe a little bit of a tail, but it's nothing like if you were going to make a knot, that would make it really cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep weaving. I have it over here, so I'm going to go under, over, row number 3. That little bit where I attach them together might take a minute to get through. I'm going to look through my work. Oh, my tail got kind of trapped in there. I'm going to keep pushing. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep weaving. If you want to add fringe, I think I'll show you that now. That's super fun. Let's use a different fabric so that you can really see what I'm up to. So I'm going to take a different kind of fabric, or the same, it doesn't matter. Whoop. I'm going to tear my strips. Now, I need these to be a little smaller so that I can make the fringe. So maybe use my arm because I can measure with it. Okay, about a foot. So you're going to make a whole bunch of strips, just like this. Now, Once you have about 2 or 3 rows, then you can add fringe that will end up looking like this. The way that you do that is you take your first strip, you lay it over 2 of the warp pieces, wrap them around and through the middle. It's a little bit tricky. It should look like bunny ears. And then you just pull those down. Be careful not to pull them too tight so the warp strings don't get smushed together. I'm going to take another string. I'm going to move over just one. I'm going to go over, over, around and through. You can see I'm starting to make my fringe. So feel free to make along with me. I'm just going to do a whole row of fringe. You could make an entire rug out of fringe and then give it a haircut afterwards. And this project, if you happen to have yarn around, you can weave with yarn. It might take a little bit longer to get your weaving done because the yarn isn't as bulky as the fabric, but works just as well. And I think weaving is the perfect indoor activity. It's calm, it's quiet, it works your brain, you gotta figure out the patterns. Try and get all those extra stringies off. So again, I'm going over 2 strings and pulling those ends straight through the middle and then down. Because I'm only moving one over, they lock themselves in place, which is important, otherwise you'll get gaps. The size of your fringe, or the length of your fringe, doesn't have to be exact because you can trim them all at the end. There. Just going to make all the rest of the ones that I need. Okay. All right. We're almost done with a row of fringe. Now you'll notice that I left this tail, my weaving end, because I'm going to use that again as soon as I'm done with this row. You can use as many colors, different fabrics as you have available. You could even paint the fabric as you go. I've even seen people do this with grocery store bags or any material that you can cut into strips could work for this. You can even weave with paper. All right, look at that fringe. That looks great. All right, now I ended on an under, so I'm going to create a what's called like a locking row. So I'm going to just come back. Let's see, over, under. pull through, swish down. All right. So basically, you're going to keep going like that. You can change up the colors, you can change up the patterns. I'm going to weave for a little bit, pause the video, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to take it off of the loom. So let's do one more row together. So I have an over here. I'm going to go for an under. Pull through, make sure it's all straight. Pull off the stringies. That's a technical term. And I'm going to keep going from there. While I'm weaving, I like to think about all the people that spent so much of their lives making rugs and clothing and blankets using really similar technologies. This is something people have been doing forever. How important weaving is. Okay, so I'm doing good. I'm just going to keep plugging along. Maybe I'll add a blue row. Just for some color. Okay, and again, I'm going to cut my notch. These guys together. Uh-oh. Oops. So I'm going to do that again. It's a tour. That's okay. Sometimes that happens. You just have to try again. Okay. So then I just keep on weaving. Over, under, over, under. Okay. All right, this is where I'm going to pause, weave, and come back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so through the magic of television, I have done my weaving all the way to the top. You can really get up to the top of your loom, but here looks like a good place to stop for me. So how do you get it off this cardboard loom? That's the next step. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna flip your loom over and you'll have these sort of semi-diagonal strings, and you are going to carefully cut in the middle. And then flip those strings back like this. And this is a little tricky, but you can handle it. You're just gonna start with the bottom side of your weaving. You're gonna
carefully remove all of those. Careful not to undo your weaving while you do this. Okay, flip the loom back for now. Then you're gonna take 2 of the strings over, around, and through, just like when you tie your shoes, and you're gonna tie them tight, and that's called a square knot. You're just gonna tie those 2 strings together. You could get a grown-up to help you with this part in any knot tying, but it's good practice. Over, around, and through. And keep going down the line. You hear my dog? She's stealing all of the toys out of the toy bin. Tay-Tay. These will be hidden on the back side of your weaving. But it's really important to tie these all twice so that your weaving doesn't fall apart and you don't lose all of that really great work you just did. If your loom has an odd number of warp strings, like mine does, I'm just going to take that last string and I'm going to tie it to that loose end that I have from when I first began my weaving. Now, if you want to make a wall hanging like this one, you're going to do the same thing, and I'll show you how to tie it onto a stick or a pencil even if you don't have any sticks nearby, or you could go stick hunting, and maybe I'll make a video about stick crafts once the weather gets a little nicer here. All right, so I'm going to go through, I'm going to tighten these up. If you can get your knots to lay down on the back side, it'll look a little bit neater, but don't worry too much about that. And that just means that the knot kind of ends up on this side instead of at the top or on the front. Just do your best. Okay. Keep it going. Couple more, almost done. So if you feel mixed up, you feel confused about what you're doing, the best thing to do is just pause, take a deep breath, and then take another look at your work and see if you can solve the problem on your own. But it's always okay to ask a grown-up to take a look at your work and see if they can help you solve any problems as well. One more, and remember, I'm just going to tie it to this loose end. If you want it to be a doll rug where there's fringe on both ends, you can certainly just do another row of that fringe and then weave a couple of plain weave rows on top, and that'll lock it into place. All right. So, look at my weaving. I'm so excited. So the back side looks a little messy, and I'll show you here in a second how to clean that up. But right now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add a stick. Now, there's a couple of ways we can do this, but I'm gonna see if I can do this without a needle, because chances are you probably don't have a needle at home. You can, let's do this the easiest way possible. I'm just gonna add a little bit of length to this little tail thing that I have going on, so that I can tie this on. So again, I made that little cut like a buttonhole. Make another buttonhole. See that puppy through there. Tie it up like this. Now what I can do is I can tie the end of my string around my stick. Like that. And I can tie. So right, friends, we lost the tail end of that, but here we are. So we tied 2 ends together to create this, and all you're gonna do next is just flip it around and trim the little white extra stringy bits, and then, whoop, then you've got it. You've got a great little weaving to hang on your wall, or like I said, if you don't want the stick part, you can just tie them off, add fringe to the top if you want to, and make it into a rug. So what I'd love for you guys to do is send me videos of your finished product or photos. You can DM us on our Instagram, Craftsman and Apprentice, or you can email me, and that's Delanie, DELANIE, at craftsmanandapprentice.com. I can't wait to see what you guys are making at home.